I stood beneath the moonlight, where the sands whispered tales of waiting and longing, and I whispered your name to the desert winds that never forget. Each night I carved verses into silence, hoping the stars might deliver them to your soul. I waited, an ocean of time compressed into each heartbeat, and yet, your shadow never crossed the horizon. My eyes, once sharp with the glint of promise, softened into pools of sorrow as the days turned into seasons, and the seasons turned into years. Every rising sun was a question I couldn't answer. Every falling dusk reminded me that the one I loved might never return. I built a sanctuary of hope inside my chest, a citadel where every breath was a prayer, and every heartbeat a declaration that I still believe. I refused to let doubt replace devotion, though your silence screamed louder than thunder. My poetry was never a performance, it was a lifeline. I waited at the edge of forever, in royal halls and quiet gardens, imagining your footsteps echoing through marble corridors, your laughter weaving through palm trees. I knew what I felt for you was real, undeniable, and eternal, but I never knew you would abandon me to the ache of unanswered loyalty. They told me I should forget you, that a man of my lineage should not kneel to memories. But I was never merely a prince, I was a poet first. And poets do not forget. We carry love like scars stitched into sonnets. I kept you in every verse I wrote, in every speech I gave when no one listened. I saw your reflection in the rain, your smile in the wings of falcons, your voice in the hush before dawn. I waited because I believed in destiny, in promises unspoken, in love that never dies. Do you know how painful it is to dress for joy and be greeted by absence? To arrange roses you'll never smell? I spoke to the empty space beside me as though you still sat there, nodding gently, your eyes lit with secrets. I kept your place at my table, your name in my prayers. But silence became my only reply. Time betrayed me, turning my certainty into confusion, my devotion into doubt. Did you ever intend to return? Did you even hear my soul calling out? Even my horses knew I waited. They stood still, as if sensing my sorrow. The desert hawks circled slower, skies darker than they used to be. I had dreams where you would run to me, barefoot and fearless, your eyes wild with the storm of our reunion. And I would wake up smiling, until I realized it was just a dream, a cruel mirage painted by hope on the canvas of despair. I clung to those dreams like a drowning man clings to air, knowing they would fade with the morning light. I wrote this poem in my mind 1,000 times, each time rewriting the ending where you actually returned. In one version, you came in the rain, soaked and shivering, whispering my name. In another, you appeared at the royal gates, cloaked in courage. But reality offered no such kindness. The gates remained closed. My arms remained empty. My heart, however, still beat in your rhythm. It betrayed me with its loyalty, for even as I tried to forget you, it remembered. The world saw my silence as strength, but only I knew the storm I carried inside. They applauded my poise, unaware that every step I took was a war against breaking. I became fluent in the language of restraint. I smiled at the world and bled in my solitude. I let others believe I had moved on, that I had accepted your absence. But every night, when the palace turned quiet, I revisited your memory like a shrine. You were my once upon a time, and I had no ending to that tale. If you had told me you wouldn't come, I might have learned to unlove you, slowly and respectfully. But you let me believe. You let me wait. And that silence was crueler than any rejection. I deserved a farewell, at least. I deserved a final page in our story. But you left me writing in circles, repeating verses of longing that grew hollow over time. You were the echo that never returned, the dream that never woke up. Some say royalty should not dwell in grief. But tell me, how does a poet not grieve when his muse disappears? How does a man forget the one who taught his heart to sing? I did not choose this heartache, it chose me the moment I chose you. And though I am surrounded by admiration, applause, and duty, I would trade it all for a single moment of truth with you. Not to beg, not to plead, but just to ask, why? Now I walk through gardens where we never walked, past balconies where I imagined our laughter. The roses bloom, but I do not smile. The fountains sing, but I do not listen. For even in beauty, your absence hollows the joy. I am not bitter. I am broken in the most elegant way. Wounded, but still standing. Crowned, but incomplete. Loved by millions, but still lonely for one. I whisper to the wind, hoping perhaps it still carries messages to where you are. I wonder if you ever think of me, if my name stirs something within you. Or have I become just another name in your forgotten past? A poem you no longer recite. You were the fire, and I, forever the flame bearer. But even flames grow tired when fed only by memories. I waited you for too long. And now, the waiting has become my legacy. Not out of weakness, but because true love does not count time. True love only hopes. Even if you never return, I will continue writing. Because in the verses, you still exist. In the lines, you still love me. And in every word, I still believe you were worth it, even if you never came. The silence you left behind became louder than any goodbye. It roared in the chambers of my heart and echoed across the marble floors where I once imagined your footsteps. I found myself watching the horizon every day, as if your silhouette might suddenly rise from the sands like a promise kept too late. Even when I was surrounded by royals, courtiers, and flashing cameras, my eyes kept scanning the crowd for the one face I truly wanted to see, yours. But you never came. Not once. Not even when the poems turned desperate, when the verses dripped with unspoken pain. You never answered, and so the silence grew fangs. I tried to write new stories, to begin again with different names and different endings, but none of them felt honest. My pen rejected the idea of pretending. It was always your name that danced beneath the ink, always your face hidden in the verses. I knew what they said behind closed doors, that I should forget, that I should move on. But they never knew the depth of what we shared, or what I thought we shared.